If I was out in the field and I had an acre of solar panels, I could program this drone to fly sideways across the solar panels and program it to do the whole lot itself.
You could be running multiple drones at once as well, couldn't you?
You could well be, yeah. You could have a couple on the go.
Turn up with a lorry, 3-4 drones, and clean a whole solar farm in a couple of days, couldn't you, basically?
Easily, yeah. And you're not there with the brush, scrubbing them. And 4,100 psi pump pressure. Like, it's not just going to be a soft wash. It's going to be...
Take your skin off.
Yeah, it will. You'll clean whatever you have to with it. Want to go see some cows?
Yeah, mate, let's go see some cows.
We got 1,200 here on the farm. We'll go into beef burgers.
How old are these ones?
These are a couple of months old, all Angus. This is called a vent tube, so this brings in cold air from outside and gives them clean air to breathe so they don't get pneumonia. If it's a bit humid or, you know, you got hot and cold days like we usually do, you know, cold at night, warm in the day.
What do you bed them down on? Just straw, is it?
This is just wheat straw. You could use barley straw. If you're getting a bit short of straw, you use hay, wood chips. The good thing about this is once it's used, and we muck this out, this will go back on our fields again as manure or fertilizer.
What's the rubbing from?
They're actually ringworm.
Oh, it's ringworm?
Yeah. The reason why they got ringworm when they come here is because they haven't been drenched for like lice.
Right.
And it makes them scrap. So then they're constantly rubbing their heads on the troughs. And that's how they all pick up ringworm. When they get here, we go right through them and they're all vaccinated and they've got everything they can have possibly done to them to look after them. So those ringworms, they will disappear. As you'll see in the older cattle, they won't have any.
Well, you can already see it's drying up and fading, can't you?
Yeah.
I've had ringworm myself. I got it in 3 patches on my arm from rubbing into people in clubs.
Not a wormy ring though. Fed on hay and also malt nuts. Dare you to eat one.
Just tastes like a biscuit.
Dunk it in your cup of tea.
Honestly, it tastes like a slightly strange, rich tea.
What is in this?
To be honest, mate, I don't actually know. I guess it's pressed on malt, really. There's about 60 in here, which you wouldn't want any more.
Right.
Because you've obviously got to have your set headspace.
Obviously, so they can all feed at once.
Exactly. And also, when there's too many in the shed at one time, they need clean air all the time. So it would get a bit stifled for them in there, and they wouldn't do as well. As these cattle grow bigger, they need the floor space to be able to sit down, rest, and be comfortable in there. These cattle will move around the farm as they get bigger. We choose this shed because it's got a lot of traffic coming up the road. People are always around. They're easy to gaze over and you can check on them.
Right.
And
keep a good
you've got people going past them all the time. Because they're new here, they've only arrived last week. You want to keep a close eye on them and make sure that if you see any ones that are coughing or lay down or not feeding, you want to make sure that you attend it straight away before it does get sick. And as time goes on and you're happy and comfortable with them, they'll move to bigger sheds where they've got more space then. Their diet will change. They'll be fed on the TMR, which is the total mixed ration. Recycled veg, maize, silage, grass silage, fodder beet. You could have your grains in there, like your wheat that's rolled, barley.
You know what it smells a bit like?
This is
a bit
all
like a Chinese restaurant.
This is all the veg waste that we get from the factory over at Evesham.
What are they making? Are they making processed salads, pastas, that sort of thing for supermarkets?
They package it all up there. So a lot of this stuff, probably 90% of it all comes from Spain.
Right.
It's all brought over in lorries and it's not gone off. But it's fresher than what you'd get at the supermarket. Cattle really do well on it. And
it looks like good stuff. It looks like I'd eat some.
It looks like brains, yeah.
Yeah. I think I paid £5 a meal deal for some of this the other day.
You know when I said we're having a barbecue at lunch? Well, this is the salad I'm going to put on the side dish. Obviously, it's a byproduct from the factory.
Yeah.
And that predominantly feeds our cattle here, along with a load of other stuff. What was going to go to waste is now feeding all these young calves. So it'd be a shame to throw it all away when these little calves love it. They absolutely thrive on it. So.
Perfect cyclical thing, really, isn't it? It's like one industry's waste product becomes a resource for another industry.
100%, yeah.
If only everything was like that.
We're part of an AFU, which is an approved finishing unit.
Right.
So the cattle that come here on the farm have to stay on the farm. They're not allowed to go outside the farm building's perimeter.
Right.
So what that means is they're not going out mixing with the badgers or wherever they're getting their TB from, because it's ringed by a 5-stranded electric fence, which is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So you can pretty much guarantee this area is pest-free, so to speak.
Exactly, yeah. We don't have
that saves you a lot of drama as well, does it?
It does. When you've got the quantity of cattle like we have, 1,200 cattle, that usually takes about 3 or 4 days to go through that lot. And then the next week, you have to bring them all back in again and check that they don't have any lumps on their side. and that's how you check for TB.
So it's a hell of a big job actually checking them for TB. Yeah.
So you have to do that every 3 months, which if you think about it, that's 4 weeks of a year. You can look at these other different options, and at the end of the day, you're protecting the cattle from those animals coming in and giving them the nasty. So try and do the best by the animals that we can possibly do. So yeah, they're very well looked after.
Well, from what I've seen as well, this is kind of the best option, I think, because it's a lot of space. And from what I've seen, the cows actually prefer being in the comfortable shed than being out in a cold field a lot of the time.
Yeah, well, they're out the weather, they're out the elements, aren't they? When we used to put string around there, they'd run off for bloody ages, but they'd always come back. Yeah. Because I think they know what's best.
They know where they're fed.
They know where they're fed.
It's saying, please fly me.
Yeah, give me a go.
Test me out.
Give me a go.
So we'll just go for a little walk around the farm now and look at some big cows.
All the beef is. Do we line the troughs with plastic to save the wood?
Right.
Which is also really smooth on the bottom, and that helps them to continue eating.
So they can lick it up better.
Yeah, so they can, yeah.
What are these ones? Because you say the other ones are Angus. What are these?
These look like Belgian Blues.
Does it just depend on what weaners are available to buy as to what you bring in?
Usually, these cattle with the blue ear tags are actually owned by Sainsbury's. What we do is we've got contracts with Sainsbury's and Morrison's that actually supply the cattle for us, and they actually pay for the cattle for us, but they pay us to look after them. So we do like a bed and breakfast, what I call it. The idea behind it is if they own the cattle and they bring them in for us, they've got a complete record of where they were born right through until the abattoir that they go to. So they've got that accountability that
all the way
through. They know exactly where they've been, and they stay here for the endurance of their life. They're well looked after here. You're paying for the name with the Angus. There's nothing wrong with the Belgian Blue, but everyone knows what Angus.
Is it the same quality meat in both types?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly the same. It's just that Angus has got a very well name. You know, the Angus burger. They promote it, don't they?
Yeah. Do you have to trim the horns ever?
They usually come dehorned.
Do they?
This lot obviously didn't.
What is the problem if you don't dehorn them? Is it just a bit of aggressiveness and they might damage each other?
Yeah, well, they could knock them off, and they could knock themselves around a bit. Especially, they like to scratch against stuff like RSJs and concrete pillars. And one of those got got hold of your pants, so it'd soon give you a wedgie, wouldn't it? Going to do some damage.
Very true. Health and safety for yourself. They'd barely even have to flick you, would they? And they're doing all sorts.
Be long gone.
Yeah. Male and female, or are they all bullocks?
No, there's no bulls on the farm. They're all heifers or steers.
Is that what you call a steer? I thought that was a bullock.
Yes.
My bad. Is that an actual?
No, that's probably the correct term. We just call them bulls.
Yeah.
But we don't have any because we don't need them.
Yeah.
We're not breeding here, so. Yeah. And they are dangerous. My grandpa almost got killed by one.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Just kept bunting him, so. He was on the ground. He managed to get his thumb and jab it in his eye, and it deterred him, so he could get away from it.
Lucky.
Yeah, I think he took his actual jacket off, jabbed it in the eye, and then put his jacket threw it over his head, and managed to get out of there. But from that day onwards, he said,
"No more bulls.
No more bollocks."
How come you've left slight gaps? Is that for daylight and ventilation? Is it
for ventilation? Yeah, because on a hot day, obviously heat expands. You'd think that you'd get rain through the gaps, but you don't, because there's that much heat coming off the shed.
I see.
With that amount of cattle, it actually dissipates before it comes into the shed, so you don't have any wet bedding.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got livestock, you need to give them clean air all the time, and that really helps drive the air up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a bit of natural convection.
You're probably wondering what all those squares are. It's just pull that handle off. Being on the outside of the shed is when you clean them out daily, that you're not tipping the dirty water back inside the shed.
Bosch fills it with clean water.
And that's how you fill it up, yeah.
And you just give it a little rinse out.
Yeah, just let it fill back up again.
Get the residue of whatever feed they've dropped in there.
Exactly, yeah.
That's really handy, that is.
It's a good bit of kit.
And like I say, putting it on the outside of the shed like this keeps all of that mess well away from everything, doesn't it?
Fresh water all the time. Because there's so many cattle here on the farm, you think, well, how does the main supply keep up with that quantity of water?
Mm-hmm.
We don't actually use the mains. We can if we have to, but up on top of the hill, we dug 2 great big ponds.
Right.
And we piped the ponds to go down into a tank that's halfway down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And these troughs all around the farm are all gravity fed by rainwater.
Nice.
So there's nothing cleaner than rainwater.
No.
And so you've got an endless supply of it, especially in this country, because it's constantly raining. So we've got fresh water all the time, out the sky, doesn't cost you anything.
The perfect off-grid solution that I like to hear, really.
Yeah. For whatever space that we take up with sheds, we try and plant the equivalent with trees
Right.
back again. So
It's a
you're
good
taking
idea.
it from one space and you're putting it in another. So this was all a fresh batch of trees a couple of years ago, and it's coming on really well.
Really nice, yeah. Well, I bet there's all sorts of benefits as well to having the extra trees.
It's good to give back to the environment, and there's definitely plenty of wildlife around here. Loads of little birds. There's loads of muntjacs, there's deers. Obviously they can't get past that 5-strand wire, but it gives them a place to nest, doesn't it? These ones were built about 3 years ago now. They're still fairly new. There's a new idea that we'd put in.
Are these ones all about ready to go? They look about it.
We've got a bit more growing up to do yet.
How much more?
I'd say these probably weigh in around 350 kilos. 550 is our goal to send them out. So these are concrete troughs. So benefit of this, you don't have any rats underneath.
Right.
They don't contaminate the food. They can't be pushed out, they can't be pushed in. There's something to push against when you clean the shed out and make sure that it's going to be immaculate for the next lot of cattle that are coming in. So really good idea. But they weigh about 3 ton each. They're bloody heavy. Rats getting into the food, it's definitely not something that you want.
No.
So I've never seen a rat in these troughs. I mean, I've seen them on the outside trying to get in, but they can't. The only problem we have is the birds come in, like pigeons and crows. They come in,
so they're being the thieves.
land in the troughs. There's always something trying to steal your crop off you. With these troughs, obviously you can see that they're empty now, which is good.
Yeah.
You want them to clear up any food scraps that's left over, because you don't want to be putting fresh food on top of old food. We used to feed them twice a day, and I think that's still much the case now. This herd will stay as it is now, right and through until it's ready to go for slaughter.
I see, it's probably less stress for them that way as well, isn't it? Not getting animals moved out.
They do get sort of separation anxiety, so if you take ones out that are used to the same herd of cattle, like you'll hear it.
They'll be
They're
moving.
intelligent animals, They'll soon tell you. We're red tractor assured here on the farm, which means that we've licensed to do all this at a higher standard. So there's a lot of hoops that you've got to jump through to maintain that red tractor.
What sort of hoops?
Things like keeping your chemical stores all locked up, making sure that no one can enter that. Hygiene standard as far as the troughs go, how they're looked after. They got fresh bedding all the time. They got fresh water. They're well housed. They've got nice new sheds to live in. All these things are all ticking boxes, and they're looking after the animals at the end of the day.
How often do you put fresh bedding in?
Every day.
Oh, do you?
Every morning, yep. So we've got this machine that fits on the front of the telehandler called spreader bale.
Right. Does it flick it out at quite a pace as well?
Yeah, so it would go probably from here to that tyre away.
Wow, so a good like 10, 15 metres almost.
Yes, this whole arm lifts up, the belt spins backwards,
right,
and you basically drive into the bale.
Oh, I see.
And it gets brought back in by that going backwards. You shut the lid. These then turn at an incredible rate, and they just flick the straw straight out the front. So,
you think this is a pretty essential piece of kit for a cattle shed then?
This is probably our bread and butter.
I need one for the chickens. I have to go in there and get my feet all covered in sawdust.
This one, I think, has got a 19-degree pitch roof, whereas this one's got a 22-degree pitch, so it's the steepest angle you can buy in a shed. Hot air can actually rise quicker and get out.
I see what you're saying.
Whereas this one still works very well, but it's not as effective as what this shed is.
Do you see it in the summer, like where you can feel the heat difference, can you?
Yeah, 100%.
So you'd recommend that to all other cattlemen, get a steep roof on your shed?
I'll be giving away my secrets then, Cal, wouldn't I? Mesh at the back as well. That saves any draft that comes from the north. But as you can see, over time, spreading straw in there, they've gotten a bit dusty.
Oh, I see.
Another good idea for the drone.
Right. Yeah, perfect application for it.
Go on the outside of the shed, hose it down with a load of water. You've got a nice clean mesh for the air to flow through. So so it's something that I'll have to get on with in the future. This is what we call our finishing shed.
Right.
So this is the last shed that they go in before they're almost ready.
Right.
So these ones, they're not far off going at all. Drinking about 25 litres of water a day per cow. So you think about it, 1,000 cattle, that's 25,000 litres a day that they're drinking.
And that's one of the things that the people always moan about, isn't it? Oh, it takes this amount of water to feed a cow. Whereas in your circumstances, all that water is just coming straight off the hill there.
Yeah, it's these people that don't know.
Yeah.
We capture it, we harvest the water.
It gets portrayed like you'd be having a pump in the river a mile away and shipping all that water out, doesn't it? But it's like,
I'm taking it out the mains. We're not. We don't pay for any water here.
Literally coming out the sky.
So apart from a few fans that are running and the lights that are on at night, so not on in the day because you've got the skylights.
Yeah, fairly economical, isn't it? Yeah. Just a bit of diesel for the machinery. How many tractors do you have?
5. That old girl, Dad bought that brand new in 1997. Big tractor back in 97. Well, it's 200 horsepower now.
Yeah, it's still decent. Yeah.
It's American quality. It's built really well.
Would you recommend the American brand tractors?
100%, all day long.
No Lamborghini tractor for you.
No, thanks. I don't like European tractors. The Yanks have really got it down sorted with their quality. There's a saying in the farming community, if it ain't red, leave it in the shed. This whole shed would be completely full of straw, and outside, and another shed down the bottom. I bale up about 4,000 or 5,000 bales.
Wow.
Every summer.
Are you going to run out this year then? Before? Yeah, so you have to buy some in.
I don't know what we're going to use yet. We've started using hay. It's imperative that you keep the straw inside because it's such a valuable commodity that if these bales get wet, it will spoil them. They'll get ruined. With wet bales, it becomes another risk as well. They start heating up, and that's what causes fires. This trailer, I made it.
You made this whole trailer?
I made this whole thing. Yeah. It's one of probably the most proudest things I've ever made.
Not surprised, mate. It's a good bit of kit, and that'll last forever by the looks of it.
Painted it Fendt colours to match the tractors.
It's painted it green though, not red.
My tractor's green. If it ain't red, leave it in the shed. I know it only looks like a pile of rubble to anyone else, but sifting through this, each one of those bricks is £2 each. There's £4 right there if you want them. Yeah, they're just the old style brick that you can't get anymore. Even these half bricks, you think, oh, that's no good because it's not a full brick. Well, it is.
Yeah, you need a load of half bricks in a build, don't you?
So if you can sift out all the good stuff first, put them on pallets, save them, you make £1 doing that, and you also got the byproduct at the end, which is the rest of the shit, to lay in your stone roadways. This is the sheep.
Oh, hello, sheep.
There's already a load of sheep out there because they're just lambing at the minute.
Right, yeah, of course.
Of
course, there's a baby one.
There's a lot of sheep up on the hill that's already lambed and they're out there.
So it just makes sense for you to have some sheep basically because of the hill farm scenario.
Yeah, because you just can't get a tractor. You can barely walk up it. I mean, they're all terrain. They can just go anywhere.
They can go anywhere.
This is probably a week or so old, 2 weeks old. Not very old. It's got me covered in shit. After lunch, I've done the farm side of things. I can show you all the arable side of stuff.
Yeah.
And out in the field then, which is predominantly what I do. It's my main area
Your
of work
wheelhouse,
is work in the fields, getting them ready for cropping. Back at this, I'm gonna take it across the field. Just get this bad boy loaded up.
So it is literally like a minute to pack it down, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Heavy's the whole unit.
I'd say about 45 kilo.
Feels like nothing between two of us.
That bolts to that, and then the pressure washer arm goes through the middle.
Right.
And basically, that can go against the building.
Stop you breaking that off.
Exactly, yeah. Grab the batteries and the remote.
And away we go. Or has this just got a little filter on it so you can just drop it in any source of water, basically?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's handy.
A little lunchbox.
What's in there?
Just spare nuts and bolts.
Oh, is it? So that's the main tour of the farm done. Now we're going to head on over to one of the farm fields and do some drone flying. Well, look at the size of this beast. It's like a car.
We'll go way out over there with it.
Yep. Oh, lost a shoe. Safety croc's not been very safe when you walk backwards. So this one's the original model, is it?
This is the first one I bought.
Pretty cool. I've seen a few videos on the internet, but I had no idea they made them this big. Whoa!
This is the seeding hopper. So 80 litre tank. So you get a fair few seeds in that. Centrifugal distributor on the bottom that just spins around.
Nice.
Cast it out, broadcaster.
Can you set the rate on how fast it comes out?
Yeah, so you shut the slide in the bottom of it,
right,
and you can open it up or close it to however size you want. This is the cleaning drone that I'm currently building, first in the UK.
Runs on a hose, does it?
Yeah, so I got 150 meters worth of hose.
Wow,
that's how high it can go up in the air. So it's a bloody long way up. Cleaning off roofs of your buildings, asbestos roofs.
Is the whole 6-arm on this sort of necessary, do you think, for the extra wind it could deal with up against the building and stuff like that?
Yeah, this drone would be a lot more stable because it's built to hover, and this thing will stay really stationary. Just takes the safety out of it if you haven't got people climbing up on the roof on scaffolding. There's a sensor on the front. It's like a radar.
Oh, yeah.
So when it gets too close to the building, it can sort of sense how far away it is.
It will break itself, will it?
It will just stay there, yeah. So you can set it on the remote how sensitive it is. So you could get, say, 2 meters away. It will know how far away that is, and then it will stay there.
Yeah, that's good.
These are all changeable. You can take these off.
What, to put different nozzles on?
Yeah, I've got longer ones and shorter ones. You've got This as well. You fill that up with detergent, spray your roof with it first, land it, take that back off, and then put these really long ones on. So I won't put any water in it at the moment. I'll just show you guys what it's all about. I won't take too long, and I'll just land it back again. Yep. And I'll fill it up out of the Bowsers there at the back of water. We're all on, ready to rock and roll.
Start her up, Padre.
It will do 32 meters a second top speed, so it's bloody quick.
Yeah, it's outrunning a person.
Yeah, you'll chase you down with it.
Yeah.
Literage wise, 1 tank, so that's a 50-litre tank. Depends what you're spraying, but you'll get at least a hectare out of 1 tank, and you can do that in about 6 minutes.
Wow. You probably can't tell, but it is blowing an absolute gale up here, and look how stationary that is.
Battery time, that'll last for about 12 minutes when the tank's full. Obviously it's going to discharge less when there's nothing in the tank. Depends what you're doing. If you're slug pelleting, say,
yeah,
it will last for a lot longer. Charge time on the batteries is about 8 minutes.
Oh, that's really good.
Super fast charger. Wow. They come with 3 batteries as it is, so you'll never be waiting for a battery.
So you get more flight time out of it than it actually takes to charge. It's like something out of Star Wars. Do you see a lot of roofing companies, roof cleaning companies, that sort of thing, wanting to get their hands on one of these? Cause,
yeah, well, that's the aim of the game, is to get the word out that these drones are actually capable of doing this stuff now.
A lot of these jobs that would usually require a trained person, a specialist rope access person, isn't it? Whereas this is just
got to have all your,
anyone could learn to do this, couldn't they? Basically?
Your safety ropes, you've got to have all your scaffolding up to be able to work at a safe height. This drone, you just have one person on the ground flying it, and with the use of the camera in the front there on the remote, you can see exactly what you're doing from off the ground. You're spraying a roof that's really tall, and you don't have to get up there yourself. No one wants to be falling for a roof, do they? Especially when you've got old roofs like this.
Yeah, I guess I can say roofs like this, a perfect application for it, really, on it. You don't want to walk on this roof, do you?
Absolutely not. Flight time you had, you could have told me how many hectares I've done in that time.
It shows you how much area you've covered.
Yeah, and total pesticide there as well, so you know when you've done the job how accurate you've actually been.
Right.
You're using less chemical, and you're not having to drive on the ground. I mean, you can do it exactly when when it's wet.
Yeah.
You get on the field anytime, and you can spray those hard to get areas. The radar, the ground sensing radar.
So that's a safety feature.
Yep. So you can set this to very sensitive or not very sensitive at all, or you can turn it off. So basically what that does, if you say, I want to hover 2 meters above the ground,
right,
above the crop, that will do its job, and it'll make sure that it'll always maintain however high you set it at. You've also got obstacle avoidance on this drone. Under here is the gimbal camera. It could be flying off on the other side of the hill there, and you'd still be able to know exactly where it was. On
this, that you can auto plot it to fly where you want it to go, or do you have to fly the path first and then it'll track it? No, so if it's just an Android setup, so I'm connected to my phone via the hotspot, go into the app, and I can go mapping. Gosh, there we are.
So this is running off Google Maps. It knows where we are. We're out in that field. So that's the field that we're in. If I want to map it, that's it. So then you upload that. So that's saved now. So if we go back into maps, go into autopilot, it's worked out already how many hectares this field is.
Nice.
And I haven't even done anything. I can do this from the comfort of my own home. I've just mapped that out in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that. And then all you do is press go to work.
Like when you think drone, you do think toy, don't you? But then you see a proper piece of kit, and it is amazing what it can do.
It's actually really quiet, this one.
It is.
Compared to that one, it's actually really...
It is. Well, with this wind 30 feet away, we couldn't hear it, could we? So.
Yeah, it's actually really windy up here. It's too windy to be flying it, but that just shows it goes above and beyond what it's capable of doing.
X-wing liftoff in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's like a bird of prey.
Yeah, so it's basically just hovering itself. Very maneuverable. It's easy to fly left and right, up and down, forwards, backwards, and it will rotate on the spot for you as well.
It does look like something out of RoboCop, doesn't it? Like, citizen, stand still.
Sprayers, these just fold down.
Oh, see, that's the sprayers, right? Of course. I was thinking they were like feet for it, so like.
Nah.
Yeah.
So these are centrifugal nozzles.
Yeah.
So these actually turn.
I'm guessing these are all fully waterproof or water resistant as well.
Yeah, IP67 waterproof. So
Can take a good shower on them, basically.
100%, yeah.
If you didn't have the generator set up like you've got here, you could just run this out of the back of a tote in your truck, couldn't you?
For the day, and I want to clean the sprayer out, I'll literally just fill it up with just some standard plain water, hit the button, and I'll just run a tank through like that, just cleans it out then.
It does put out a really fine mist as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you can change the droplet size, so you can have like more like rain coming out,
Right.
or you can have it very misty like that. So
I guess you cover much more area if it's misty.
it depends what you're spraying. If you're spraying stuff like liquid fertilizer, it's very loopy, like quite thick and heavy.
So you'd want a bigger droplet, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so you want to put it on like it wasn't so windy, because you'd have a really nice fan of the spray.
Pretty cool. It is mightily impressive bit of kit.
It's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Really cool.
First go with it.
Yeah, I've never used it before. So this is just one of the pieces that you can screw onto the drone to wash your roofs off. So just clip it on like that. So you can spray straight ahead, or you can angle it down so you're directly down onto the roof.
We're losing the light now, but we've had a great day playing with all the drones from Nads. If you're interested in getting yourself a drone, head across to nadslimited.com. Rob here will be able to help you out.
Check us out online or across all of our social media platforms.